Welcome to my next Madden 23 offseason rebuild, this time with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The rules are pretty simple. I have 3 seasons to win a Super Bowl, otherwise this rebuild is a failure. In this first offseason, we have $35.5 million in cap space, and we have 22 players ready to negotiate their contracts, so I don't think we're going to be bringing back everybody. There are 2 people here that I really want, and that is tight end Evan Ingram, who's an 84 overall superstar dev trade, only 28 years old. He is actually very interested in coming back, and then linebacker Josh Allen, who has almost no interest in coming back. We're going to offer Evan Ingram the player-friendly deal here. Hopefully he will take it, and he is going to be re-signing. Because Josh Allen has pretty much no interest in coming back here, we're going to offer him the player-friendly contract. It's going to knock us down to $10.5 million in cap space if he accepts it, and he is going to be testing out free agency. And pretty much everybody else, I am just going to let hit free agency. We're going to obviously have to find replacements there and in the draft. Obviously, this team has one key point to build around on offense, and that is superstar dev trait quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He is currently an 82 overall, has Travis Etienne at running back, has Christian Kirk and Zay Jones at wide receiver, along with Evan Ingram at tight end, and next season we get Calvin Ridley on this team. The big weakness on this offense, though, is definitely the offensive line, which we will 100% be looking to improve. The defense has a few pieces I'm definitely going to have to get taken care of. Losing Josh Allen was a big loss for this defense. We're going to need help pretty much along the entire defensive line besides Hamilton here at defensive tackle, and we're probably going to need help at both safety positions. Looking to clear out some cap space here, there is defensive back Shaquill Griffin, 82 overall, 28 years old. We would save $13.5 million by trading him. We are shipping Shaquill Griffin off to Arizona for a 2nd round pick. It may not be a popular move to trade him, but it does save a lot of money in cap space. With that move, we go up to $36 million in cap. Obviously, we need a lot of help on this team, so let's go into free agency and see if we can get some. Here are the 5 contracts I have thrown out in free agency. We're going to go after Byron Murphy, Deshaun Elliott, Andre Dillard, David Edwards, and Bradley Bozeman. Let's see if any of these guys sign with us. I imagine all 5 should. They are all 5 gone because they are all 5 part of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here is the final mock before this year's draft, and this is a different draft class than I've used before, which probably explains why Bryce Young isn't going to be taken by the Bears. The last couple offseason rebuilds that I have done, he did get taken by the Bears. Bryce Young is now expected to go to Houston, CJ Stroud to Arizona, Will Anderson to the Colts, Jalen Carter to the Seahawks. Let's scroll all the way down here. I think we have pick 26. I want to see who we are mocked to take. Actually, it's pick 25. Right tackle Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. Honestly, would not be a bad pick. We don't have a right tackle on the roster currently. So here we go with the number 1 pick in the draft. The Chicago Bears take defensive end Brian Brees. Or, yeah, I think that's how you say his name. I could be completely wrong. It could be Breesy. I have no idea. At pick 2, it is Bryce Young. At pick 3 to Arizona will be quarterback CJ Stroud. They're going to look to move on from Kyler Murray. At pick 4, the Colts will take Will Anderson, and at pick 5, the Seahawks will take Jalen Carter. Now we will just jump to our pick and see who's left available. Honestly, I think we're just going to follow the mock draft here and take right tackle Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. He's projected to go in this round anyway. He's the 6th strongest tackle at the combine, apparently the 20th strongest tackle at his pro day. But let's take right tackle Anton Harrison, and he will have a normal depth trait. Not what I wanted to see, but I still think he'll be pretty solid. With the pick that we got from Arizona here in the 2nd round at pick 3, I'm going to take this outside linebacker out of Pittsburgh. I'll be completely honest, I have no idea how to say this dude's name. I'm not even going to attempt it, but he will also be a normal depth trait apparently. Here near the end of the 2nd round, I'm going to take defensive end Zach Harrison out of Ohio State, and he will come in with a hidden dev trait. Finally, we get one. With the 25th pick of the 3rd round, I'm going to take free safety Jordan Tolles out of LSU, who will also have a normal dev trait. If you've never watched any of my rebuilds before, the way I do things is I pick the first 3 rounds and then I let the computer pick the rest of the draft, so that's what I'm doing now. Anton Harrison comes in as a 74 overall. This linebacker, I'm not going to try to say his name, is a 70 overall. Zach Harrison's a 72 left in, and then we got a 67 overall free safety, a 68 overall quarterback, a 69 overall receiver, a 68 overall corner, a 68 overall right end, and a 66 overall fullback in the 7th round. Here is your starting offense for season 1 of this rebuild, and it looks like Calvin Ridley will still be injured for the first 2 weeks of the regular season, but we should get him back after that. If I'm being completely honest with myself, I don't think this defense is going to be very good. We will see exactly how they hold up though. I do think not having Josh Allen on defense will be a huge loss for this team. Last year, they obviously got to the playoffs, won a playoff game. I don't really expect to win a playoff game this year. Maybe we can get back to the playoffs, but it's really going to depend on how well Trevor Lawrence plays. This is honestly what I figured would happen. We go 7-10 and miss the playoffs. We are the 10th offense in points per game, but the 20th defense. Trevor Lawrence comes out and throws for 5,200 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Running the ball, Travis Etienne did run in for 16 touchdowns. Receiving, Christian Kirk caught 14 scores and 1,400 yards. Evan Ingram, 7 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, only 2 touchdowns, but over 1,000 yards. And Zay Jones also goes over 1,000 with 5 touchdowns. And now we'll check out the defense. How did they do? I'm not going to try to say your name, but you got 153 tackles and led the team. That's pretty good. In sacks, wow, that is a low sack leader with 5.5. Interceptions, Darius Williams got 5. In this universe, I guess Tom Brady doesn't retire and throws for 5,800 yards in the next season, which would break an NFL record. Touchdowns goes to Joe Burrow with 47, and interceptions goes to Tom Brady, who threw 21 of them. Baker Mayfield got to start for the Colts and threw 18. Running the ball, Derrick Henry led the league with 1,600 yards, and touchdowns goes to Jonathan Taylor with 17. Receiving, Mike Evans caught 134 passes for 1,800 yards, but leading the league in touchdowns is going to be wide receiver Tyler Boyd. Well, as an Eagles fan, I would absolutely love this. The Eagles get back to the Super Bowl in the next season and beat the Ravens 28-14. The NFL MVP is Jalen Hurts, Coach of the Year is Zach Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year is Tyler Boyd, Defensive Player of the Year is Nick Bosa, Rookie of the Year goes to Bryce Young, and Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jalen Carter. This offseason, we will have $50 million in cap to start with and 13 players ready to negotiate their contracts. Looking through these contracts, there's only a couple players I really want to bring back, and that's Calvin Ridley and Davon Hamilton. I think I'm going to let everyone else hit free agency. First thing we're going to do is offer this contract to Davon Hamilton, even though he has no interest in coming back here, and he is going to be testing free agency. Calvin Ridley is wanting a ton of money here. I think we're just going to offer this neutral contract. Hopefully he takes it. We have $35 million in cap space if he does, and he is going to be re-signing. Well, the good news is Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram are now both superstar X Factors, which really helps out our team. We're definitely going to need a center and probably a left guard, considering that guy's a 63 overall. But aside from that, the rest of the offense looks pretty solid. Defense is definitely going to be the focus here of this offseason, though. At least I'm going to attempt to make it the focus. We definitely need to build up the defensive line. Maybe a new outside linebacker. Strong safety seems to be fine. Maybe get a new free safety and a little bit more corner depth. The quarterbacks in this free agent class are absolutely insane. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Tua, Tom Brady apparently still hasn't retired, and then past that's like Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, and Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm going to try to trade one more player to clear up a little bit of cap space, and that is K'Lavon Chaisson. Yeah, I'm going to butcher that, whatever. You guys know who I'm talking about. This guy right here, we're going to trade him away. And we have sent him to Detroit for a 3rd round pick in this draft. Here are the contracts I have thrown out in this stage of free agency. I'm going to try to get Rashawn Gary, even though he is not a scheme fit here, but it's only a 1-year contract because I don't want to handicap our cap space for whenever we have to re-sign Trevor Lawrence. Defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, defensive back Rashad Fenton, right end Jonathan Greenard, and defensive tackle Matthew. I don't ever want to try to say his last name because I will completely butcher it. And let's see if anyone has signed. Everyone has signed except Rashawn Gary, and they have all signed with us. But yeah, I did not think Gary was actually going to take this contract, and now Washington has come in. The only other player I signed here is going to be left guard Elijah Wilkinson. This will be our entire free agent class, and now we will head to the draft. The Cardinals hold the number 1 pick in this draft, and with that pick, they will take a defensive end out of LSU. The Jets with pick 2 will take a quarterback out of Indiana State, and the 3rd pick goes to the Falcons, and they will take a middle linebacker out of Florida State. And we're actually going to trade back a couple spots with Miami here and pick up a 1st and a 3rd round pick for this year and a 6th round pick for next year. And I'm just curious to see who Miami is going to take with this pick. I really could not decide who to take. And they are going to take left end Ben Bassey out of Oklahoma. I honestly thought about that, but now let's see who the Saints are going to take at pick 12. They take a wide receiver out of Clemson. Was not looking there. With the 13th pick here in the 1st round, we're going to take defensive end Trent Brackens out of USF, and he will come in with a hidden dev trade. With the 11th pick here in the second round now, I'm going to take center Zaire Burton out of Ohio State, and he will come in with a hidden dev trade as well. With the 6th pick here in the third round, I'm going to take another center, not just to back up the first center that I took. One of these guys will end up playing guard. There are not any good guards in this draft class, so I'm going to take this center and hope that he can move over there. But John Chandler will come in with a hidden dev trade as well. With pick 11 here in the third round, and I have one more pick after this, we're going to take defensive tackle Javier Price out of Florida, and he will also come in with a hidden dev trade. A couple picks later here at pick 13, we're going to take outside linebacker Sidney Parrish out of Buffalo, and he will actually have a normal dev trade. And I would say I drafted pretty decently this time. We took a 74 overall defensive end, a 73 overall center, another 73 overall center, a 74 overall defensive tackle, a 64 overall right outside linebacker, a 65 overall middle linebacker, a 67 overall running back, a 63 overall guard, and a 64 overall defensive tackle. Here is your offense for season 2 of this rebuild. I moved Chandler over to guard. He actually went from a 73 to a 74, but I'd say that's really the biggest addition to this offense. For the defensive side of the ball, we obviously added Price and Brackens to the D-line. Both of them are hidden dev trades. We still did not upgrade free safety. I'm hoping that does not bite us too much. In the last season during simulation, we went 7-10. Obviously, I'm hoping to improve upon that a little bit. Let's hopefully get back to the playoffs in this season. Well, we're definitely not getting back to the playoffs in this season. We once again go 7-10, this time with the 13th offense in points per game and the 24th defense. Trevor Lawrence absolutely balled out in this year. 5,400 yards, 43 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Travis Etienne runs for 6 touchdowns and Snoop Connor runs for 7. Receiving Christian Kirk, 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns on 131 receptions. Zay Jones, 83 for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley caught 5, Evan Ingram caught 8, and then over on defense, once again, the same guy leads the team in tackles with 131. Like I said, not going to try to say his name. Sacks, Trayvon Walker did get 11.5 this year. Jonathan Greenard got 6.5. Interceptions, Byron Murphy got 2, and Devin Lloyd got 2. But definitely with that low ranking of a defense and points per game, we're going to have to improve something. This time, Joe Burrow leads the league in passing yards with 5,600. In touchdowns, that goes to Trevor Lawrence. And interceptions goes to Mac Jones, who threw 19. Running the ball, Jonathan Taylor ran for 1,700 yards and 23 touchdowns. Both of those lead the league. Receiving, Cooper Kupp just had to top our guy. 140 receptions, 2,200 yards, and 17 touchdowns. All of those good enough to lead the league. Amari Cooper also caught 17 touchdowns. And the Las Vegas Raiders, who stuck with Derek Carr in this universe, win the Super Bowl 42-35. Dak Prescott is NFL MVP. Coach of the Year is Garrett Pratt for the Jets. Offensive Player of the Year is Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year is Aaron Donald. Offensive Rookie of the Year is a quarterback for the Chargers. And Defensive Rookie of the Year is a defensive end for the Cardinals. Going into the final offseason of this rebuild, we are starting with $145 million in cap space, and 18 players are ready to negotiate their new contracts. The first player we're going to bring back is right guard Brandon Sheriff. I hope I said his last name right. I probably didn't, but he will be re-signing. And here our middle linebacker wants a new contract. He pretty much has no interest in coming back, so we're going to offer a player-friendly deal, and he would like to play for a new team, so we're going to need a new middle linebacker. And then defensive back Tyson Campbell, who has a ton of interest in coming back, we're going to offer him this contract, and he is happy to re-sign. We're going to offer this contract to left tackle Cam Robinson and see if he accepts it, and he will be coming back as well. And everyone else here will be walking into free agency. I'm not going to bring back Zay Jones or Javon Hargrave right now. We're going to see if there are upgrades available in free agency, but we will be going into free agency with $110 million in cap space. We now get to add Trevor Lawrence to the list of X Factors on this offense. So now we have Lawrence, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram. We will probably look for a third receiver to add to this group, and I think our O-line is finally good. The defense definitely seemed to be the weak point of this team last year. I would say we're looking at every position on the D-line, most of the linebackers except Trayvon Walker, he is up to a superstar depth trait, and probably a new free safety, even though I've said that the last 2 off seasons. In the first stage of free agency, the contracts I have offered are to wide receiver Chris Godwin, defensive tackle Grover Stewart, running back Elijah Mitchell to back up Travis Etienne, defensive back Shaquille Griffin, yeah, we're going to try to bring him back, and free safety Quandre Diggs. Let's see if any of these guys are going to sign their contracts here in stage 1. They are all gone because they have all signed with us. I'm currently looking around the league for possible trade targets, and I see middle linebacker Patrick Queen. He's 83 overall and has a player tag of a trade target young. And all they want is a second round pick for him. We are 100% willing to do that, and we have our middle linebacker. I have no idea what they would want for him, but TJ Watt has a trade target veteran tag. We could definitely do this trade. They want 2 first round picks and a second round pick. We're going to get linebacker TJ Watt on this team. And I immediately moved TJ Watt from a linebacker to a defensive end. He is now a scheme fit and will actually get to rush the passer. There is one more trade I want to try here. Left outside linebacker Frankie Louvu from Carolina. They want 2 third-round picks and a 4th-round pick. Why not? We are selling this team's future to try to win a Super Bowl in this season. Since I had no picks in the first 3 rounds, I went ahead and just simulated the entire draft. And the CPU did not do too bad. A 70 overall receiver in the 5th round, a 67 overall tackle, a 70 overall running back in the 6th round, and another 70 overall receiver, this one in the 7th round. Now we have your roster for the final season of this rebuild. Starting at quarterback, you have a 90 overall Trevor Lawrence, who is an X-Factor. Evan Ingram is also an X-Factor at tight end. Christian Kirk is also an X-Factor at receiver. Chris Godwin is a superstar dev trait. And then you have 2 star dev trait running backs. Over on defense, I had to make a few trades to get this defense a little bit better, but we added guys like TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, and Frankie Louvu. I think this team is going to be a lot better, and it pretty much has to be because this is a final do or die season. I try to do this in every rebuild for the final season, but you guys can see our team ratings here. We are an 87 overall offense, an 85 overall defense, and an 86 overall team. I have pretty much sold this team's entire future to try to win a Super Bowl this year, and past this season, I have no idea what would happen with this team, but it does not matter as long as we win a Super Bowl here in this year. We finally managed to make it to the playoffs here in this rebuild. We have the number 2 offense in points per game and the number 5 defense. We go 12-5 and win the division. And Trevor Lawrence throws for 5,600 yards, 46 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Travis Etienne runs for 1,200 yards and another 17 touchdowns. Receiving, Chris Godwin 1,300 yards and 12 scores. Calvin Ridley caught 12 touchdowns. Christian Kirk caught 5. Evan Ingram caught 11. What happened over on defense? Patrick Queen leads the team in tackles with 152. Sacks goes to TJ Watt with 19.5. Trayvon Walker got 12. Grover Stewart got 10.5. And interceptions, Patrick Queen got 2. Byron Murphy got 2. And Quandre Diggs got 2. Trevor Lawrence does lead the league in passing yards with 5,600, and touchdowns, that goes to Jared Goff, who had 51 in Vegas. What the hell is going on in Las Vegas? What do y'all have him on? Joe Burrow leads the league with 19 interceptions. Running the ball, Jonathan Taylor ran for 2,100 yards and 23 touchdowns. Both of those lead the league. Receiving, Cooper Kupp had another fantastic year, 125 catches, a little over 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns, leading the league in all 3 categories. Devontae Adams did tie him in touchdowns though with 17. In the first playoff game, we absolutely dominate Cincinnati 55-18. Trevor Lawrence throws 6 touchdown passes. In the next game, thanks to a 4th quarter comeback, it seems, we beat the Patriots 21-17 and we are headed to the AFC Championship. But sadly, we lose in the AFC Championship game to the Las Vegas Raiders, led by quarterback Jared Goff, who has seemingly gone Super Saiyan this season and gotten them all the way to a Super Bowl. And the Las Vegas Raiders have won Super Bowl 60 here, 35-21. The NFL MVP goes to Patrick Mahomes, Coach of the Year goes to Doug Peterson, Offensive Player of the Year goes to Cooper Kupp, Defensive Player of the Year goes to Aaron Donald. The Offensive Rookie of the Year is the quarterback for the Ravens, and Defensive Rookie of the Year is a defensive end for the Bills. Well, we got incredibly close this time, all the way to the AFC Championship. Trevor Lawrence is now a 93 overall without any of his boosts, a superstar X-Factor quarterback. I traded the team's entire future, so I don't know how well they're going to be going forward, but they just had one hell of a year, but this does end in a failure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.